So, is Gary Vaynerchuk a scammer? Is he just another one of these fly-by-night, get-rich-quick gurus? Or does he actually have something worthwhile to share in his messages? What's up, internet homie? It's Jamie here, and I wanted to give you a warm welcome to the show. Today we are talking about the man, the myth, the legend, Gary Vaynerchuk. If you're at all interested in business or entrepreneurship, then you've probably heard about Gary Vee. A lot of people love him, and a lot of people hate him. What should you think about Gary? That's what we're talking about today, as you learn about Gary beyond his sound bites, and we rank his books from worst to best. So hopefully by the end of this video, you'll have a little bit more of a balanced perspective and understand the pros and cons about what some people call a toxic 24/7 hustle culture in today's business community. Plus, I'll share what I personally took away from Gary's books because I've read them all. All that and more is coming up next. But before we get started, I wanted to give you such a big thank you for watching. It's the support of amazingly creative people just like you that drives me to do this work. So if you want to join the best community for all this e-commerce, marketing, and business stuff, then definitely make sure that you subscribe to this channel so that you don't miss any of the next actionable business advice and marketing advice videos.
We interrupt this program to bring you the Marketing Nerd Show, starring Jamie, the marketing nerd. Grab a seat, take out your notes, and let's get into the show!
When you're still trying to crack the code of getting to that six-figure level and beyond, one of the things that you're gonna hear the most often is about mindset. Mindset. But is mindset really that important to success? Yes. In my opinion, I do agree with them here. But unfortunately, it's really easy to waste a lot of money and valuable time on pointless stuff or even expensive courses that are complete scams. But I've personally had to make a lot of changes to myself, my perspective, and yes, even my own mindset on my own personal journey to becoming a six-figure business owner. Also, on my weight loss journey from over 200 pounds at my highest to about 140 pounds today. If you want to learn more about that journey, definitely check out my other channel, Eat Love Protein, where I talk all about that aspect. Overall, though, yes, accomplishing this type of big stuff does mean that you have to evolve as a person, you have to grow, but you have to keep in mind that there are healthy and toxic mindset shifts that you could be making. And the question for today is, where does Gary Vee fit into that conversation? That's exactly what we're going to be talking about while we rank his books from worst to best together, starting right now. So before we get started, I just wanted to give you guys some context, because if you've heard of Gary Vee or know him, it's probably from his snappy social media sound bites or maybe one of his amped up, super hyper interviews. But not everybody knows that Gary's actually the author of 6 books total. Only 5 of them are about business. The first book that he wrote is about wine. I love wine, but we're not going to be talking about wine today. That one can just be the de facto best book because who can argue with wine? But as far as his 5 business books, let's get on the same page about what they are before we start getting involved with ranking them from worst to best. So in chronological order, his 5 business books are Crush It, which was released in 2009, The Thank You Economy, which was released in 2011, Jab, 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 Right Hook, which was released in 2013, AskGaryVee, which was released in 2016. It's also called #AskGaryVee, but we're just going to be calling it AskGaryVee for this video. And then his most recent book, Crushing It, in 2018. And you know what, Gary? It's 2021, so I think that we're overdue for some books, huh? Anyway, a lot of people wonder how someone who's so high on life and hyped up like Gary could sit still long enough to write books. But I hope that today you learn about another deeper side to Gary, his platform, and his perspective through this video. Now, without further ado, let's start talking about the books. Number 5, and in my opinion, the worst book of Gary's, is Thank You Economy. Because if you're watching this video right now and you already believe that investing your time into marketing online is worthwhile, then you literally can just skip this book altogether. I feel like a lot of people kind of get tricked into starting with this book because it's one of the more recent ones, but even Gary himself has said that he feels like Thank You Economy is his worst book, or at least his least favorite book, and one that didn't age as well as some of the others. I forget his exact words, but I listened to a lot of Gary Vee audio experience episodes, so don't judge me for knowing that, okay? But overall, this book was pretty much written to convince old, stodgy corporate guys that marketing online was something even worth doing and not a waste of money. I'm gonna say this, and I say this with no disrespect at all to Gary, because he hires a ghostwriter, and I'm also pretty sure he said something similar to what I'm about to say himself, but the Thank You Economy to me kind of reads like a simple English Wikipedia article. Like literally, if you just go look up digital marketing on Wikipedia and change the language in the side to say simple English, you just get this book. So you can just save yourself the time and skip this book altogether. Sorry, Gary. So if I had to say something positive about Thank You Economy, I would say that it does have a lot of good research behind it. Maybe if you have like an older team member or something like that, or maybe you're a child and you're part of a family business with like your mom or dad, just you have somebody older that you need to get on the same page that digital marketing is not just for children and actually something worthwhile doing, then the Thank You Economy does offer a pretty clear and logical, if outdated, look at the math behind why it's not a waste of time to do something like that. And especially why transitioning to digital marketing and online advertising can make a lot more sense than continuing to just dump the majority of dollars into dwindling mediums like TV, billboards, radio, and that type of stuff. But please keep in mind that the stats in the book are extremely outdated at this point. So if you're thinking about making a move into digital marketing, today is the perfect time, because everything we've seen so far, everything discussed in the Thank You Economy and since then is just the beginning. Because right now, in 2021, corporations like Amazon and Google are going to spend more money marketing online compared to traditional stuff like TV, print, billboards, and radio for the first time ever. Thank You Economy is Gary Vaynerchuk's worst book, in my opinion. But that's not the only questionable book on this list. The next book on our list is Crushing It. I was really hyped for Gary's most recent book, but overall, I found it really disappointing. There's nothing new added to the discourse or any type of further elaboration on Gary and his platform, which we haven't even talked about that much yet. Hint, that's why these are my least favorite books. Crushing It is literally just a case studies book, so we don't even really hear from Gary at all. And yes, I get it that it's supposed to be sharing these stories of people who used Gary's ideas to build a profitable business and blah, blah, blah. He even pulled some really good strings to get impressive guest features like John Lee Dumas from Entrepreneur on Fire, who I also think puts out really amazing stuff. But I don't know, like for me, I just feel like this type of stuff should be free. I'm never a fan of these case studies books because I just don't feel good paying for somebody to tell me how great they are without any strategy or tips. I don't really have a lot overall to say about this book, just that I'm disappointed and I really didn't like it. I even pre-ordered this book and I ordered it really early because I was excited about it. But I even low-key slammed it on Goodreads, as you can see here. So you know I'm being 100% legit with you about my opinions of the books on this list. And that's why I think that you can give Crushing It a pass too. So is Gary Vaynerchuk a scammer? Is he just another one of these fly-by-night, get-rich-quick gurus? Or does he actually have something worthwhile to share in his messages? Comment below and let me know what you think. Do you think that Gary's going to be able to turn it around in this video? Then keep watching to find out. Now, let's move on to book number 3. The last book, Crushing It, was all the more disappointing because it was the follow-up to the number 3 on our list, which is #AskGaryVee. And from now on, we're just going to be calling it AskGaryVee. You guys, this book is thick. It's a real technician's manual, and it's something that I highly recommend that anybody who wants to get into social media marketing really picks up. It's the peak of a strategy that Gary calls pillar content. Gary has put out a ton of information about his content strategy, so we're going to kind of overall summarize it here, but I also wanted to include some links in the description to some amazing slide decks and other articles that he's put out about this concept in the description, like I said, because I definitely want you to check them out. Basically, Gary hosted a multiple times per week live call-in show, which was also called #AskGaryVee, and starting from what I saw based on his YouTube was around 2015, but it was maybe a little bit before that. What would happen is that he would take calls from people in his audience and he would give off-the-cuff answers. So I'm sure that, as you can imagine, over the many years and episodes that they've done this, they just created a huge catalog of information about a lot of different marketing topics. Seriously, there's so much information that he even has a search engine. Not a lot of people know about that one. Anyway, so that's what pillar content is. Then you take that and you chop it up into smaller videos to post it on social media. He distributes it long form, like posting the full video on YouTube and even taking the audio and using it as the podcast. And then he, does stuff like this. Turns the transcripts into the book and the search engine. So honestly, that's one of the biggest lessons that I've learned studying Gary over the last few years, is that treating your content like a media empire can help you really build a big business fast. Clearly, it's a successful strategy because he's made millions of dollars just from his own personal brand in this same time period. That's why my near-term goal is to build a team to help me scale content just like this. And if you've enjoyed any of this video so far, then I would really appreciate your help getting to my first milestone of 1,000 subscribers. But, and yes, there is a but with this book, I wouldn't start here if you're new to Gary, or if you would consider yourself new to this overall e-commerce and marketing online thing. Because if you're new, I really think that it could be a little bit overwhelming. So if any of that describes you, then I highly recommend you keep watching this video, and the best place for you to start would be the number 5 book, which is, in my opinion, Gary's best book. So make sure that you stick around for that. But overall, I think that Ask Gary Vee is a great read for intermediate and advanced entrepreneurs as well as marketers, and maybe somebody who's looking for practical, step-by-step strategies that could be broadly applied to the dynamics of any social media platform. Plus, personally, I like this book a lot. It's probably my second favorite book overall, even though I put it as 3rd slot on this list, mostly just because of what I said. I think it's not as good of a place for beginners to start in both marketing skills, business skills, and people new to Gary. But it is one of my favorite books because I think it gives a much more nuanced version of Gary's main messages on his platform. The cons that I have to say about it, which again tie into some of the reasons why it's number 3 on the list, why I don't recommend it for beginners, is that it can feel pretty disorganized. Basically, it's almost literally just cleaned up live transcriptions with a few pieces of commentary and other transitions to try to make things make sense. And it's organized into categories, but each chapter is a category. But you have to keep in mind that when you're reading a chapter, everything from it isn't necessarily from the same stream of consciousness, if that makes sense. If you're reading 3 paragraphs, it's possible that the 1st, 2nd, and 3rd paragraph are all from something kind of completely different. Personally, I didn't struggle with it, I found the book easy enough to follow and everything like that. But I'm also really familiar with Gary, and I'm not new to marketing or business, so I wasn't overwhelmed in that way. Overall, it's my favorite book of Gary's, one of my favorites. I mean, probably my second. Number 5 on this list is also my favorite, to be honest. But I really got a lot of value out of it. I think that anybody who's a beginner, though, should probably start with a book where Gary more clearly articulates his overall platform and messages, kind of like these next 2 books on our list. Here we are at number 4. This book is one of my favorites and something that I think everyone who's getting started with marketing should read for one main reason: mindset. Most marketers or business owners who are tasked with marketing their own business don't really have the right perspective of how to go about it. If you feel like you're constantly putting information out there about like your business and what offers you have, but you're not getting any results, then I highly recommend that you read this book. The core of jab, 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 right hook lines up with the educational marketing approach that I strongly believe in. The title, Jab, 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 Right Hook, comes from boxing terminology, and how Gary phrases this or relates it to business and marketing is give, ask. Most business owners are too quick to blast their sales and offers around everywhere without really taking the time to give the viewer value. Value being entertainment, education, or both. If you're posting too many right hooks, too many asks of people to buy from you without providing that value, then your audience isn't going to grow. I can't agree enough with the messages in this book that Gary shares. I think that anyone new to marketing as a career, or any business owner who considers themselves an expert in their field, but maybe not an expert in marketing, would benefit from reading it. I would say that for intermediate and advanced marketers, it's a book that could probably be skipped overall. I still think the best book for you would be AskGaryVee, and the number 1 book on this list, which we're gonna talk about right now. In my opinion, the best book that Gary Vaynerchuk has written is Crush It. I think that every single hopeful entrepreneur should definitely read this book for 1. And for 2, I think that every aspiring marketer should also read this book. I think the most important message of Crush It is that no matter what your interests are, doing makeup or playing sports or video games or chickens or gardening, whatever it is that you're into, every interest does have a minimum potential for about $30,000 to $100,000 revenue stream. Every interest does. Bull stop. I've personally bought this book and given it as a gift to friends of mine who express interest in starting a business, because I truly do believe that if you're considering starting a business or becoming self-employed, that this is the first book that you should start with. Because to be successful, or to actually replace something like your full-time job income, the absolute first step is that you have to believe it's actually possible. Not hope, not wish, not daydream about if it was possible, but, and there's always a but, ABC, like limiting beliefs. No, you have to understand and believe that it's possible for you to replace your income with your chosen business before that will ever become a reality. And if you don't believe that, you're not going to succeed. I also recommend this book all the time to hopeful, aspiring marketers. This is something that we're going to talk about a lot in more detail in an upcoming video, so definitely make sure that you subscribe to the channel so that you don't miss that. But unfortunately, a lot of people are interested in becoming freelance marketers or copywriters, sometimes specifically because they're told that it's a high income field. If the only reason that you're getting into marketing is for the money, you're not going to be successful. Like I said, we're going to talk about this in a lot more detail about why so many people who want to become professional marketers or copywriters fail, but overall, I recommend this book to people because, again, so that you can see, and the biggest keyword here is believe, that you can make income with anything that you're interested in. Full stop. Literally fight with me about this in the comments. Tell me something that you think that people are not interested in, and I'm gonna find at least one person who does make $100,000 in that industry. And where there's one person, there's thousands of people. And where somebody's making $100,000, others are making a few $100,000 and maybe even $1 million. Now, don't get me twisted, you guys. I'm not here telling you that everybody can be a millionaire. I'm not saying that doing this or accomplishing this isn't going to come without hard work. You do have to put in a lot of hard work to make this possible. But I really believe with all my heart that if you want to be self-employed and make your own income on your own terms, that the best way to do that is to follow your interests. Now, there can be flawed plans with your interests. There are some ways to approach a strategy in your interests that could be more successful or generate you more income than others. Execution and quality of execution is also a huge factor, but I really don't believe that you need to do something you're not interested in at all just to make money. But unfortunately, a lot of people find themselves in marketing and copywriting because they were interested in the promises of money, not because they were actually interested in the career. And that is a recipe for failure. So whether you're thinking of starting your own business or becoming a professional marketer, I highly recommend reading this book. For intermediate and advanced marketers, I still think there's also something really important to take away from this book, and that is a genuine enthusiasm for the possibility and potential of all niches. Plus, it's a really short book, so the ratio of lessons to pages is definitely worth it. Now, hopefully you have a few great books to add to your reading list. But what should you do next if you want to continue developing a successful marketing mindset? Well, make sure that you check out and join my free 1-month sales funnel copywriting course. You can find that at jamiedoerschuck.com/funnel. And in there, you're going to learn a step-by-step process for research, for strategy, and of course, you're going to learn how to make things like sales pages and email sequences and advertising online. And most importantly, you're going to develop a strong foundation and a marketing mindset. That's what we start off with first in this course, and that's how important I really believe that it is. If you want to join a community of smart marketers and business owners just like you, then come join our secret society, the Marketing Nerd Crew. It's a place where we can connect with each other and you can get advice not just from myself, but also other business owners and professional marketers. You can find that group at jamiedoerschuck.com/crew. Plus, you can find this and all the other links that I've mentioned, as well as the other parts of the Marketing Nerd community, links all in the description. Thank you so much for watching this far. So, what did you think? Did today's video make you think differently about Gary Vee? Let me know your thoughts in the comments. And if you decide to read any of these books after watching this video, definitely report back in the comments too, because I would love to know what you think. If you want more videos on how to market smarter, not harder, then make sure that you subscribe to the channel because I've got a lot of exciting videos about marketing mindset, copywriting, email marketing, psychology, social media advertising, and so much more fun stuff coming out every single week. If you want another video that goes even deeper into marketing mindset like we've been talking about today, then definitely make sure that you check out the videos that are on your screen because I've personally selected them for you so you know they're gonna be good. Peace out for now, internet homies, and I'll see you next week. Bye for now.